Hi, gang. This is Llyn Hunter, Llynhunter, and today I'm doing the second video of my current sketchbook. This 2 pages were where I left off, and this last one was done in 2022. So this where I'm going to take you is to this page here, and this is all the way. This is where I am currently in 2025, but all of that was done between 2022 and 2025. So I think we're probably going to take one more video to get finished with this. And we stopped on, I was just playing with a Napoleonic character, and I had gotten on Pinky and the Brain / Animaniacs. I got on the last season of Animaniacs before Hulu was bought up by Disney, and we were supposed to get another season, and I was so excited about that. And then Disney bought up Hulu, and Warner Brothers didn't do another season of Animaniacs, and I got laid off. This is a kind of another character. I do a steampunk comic called Silk and Steel that I'm about to get back into. I've kind of been away from it for about a year and a half, and I'm going to finish it up. It's a 15-chapter arc series. I'm currently in chapter 3. I've written up to chapter 5 this far. It's going to be done because I love it, and it's going to get done. But this is kind of like a loosely based character on me. I'm 65, so I am old. And I was just playing around with, okay, what would I do with a steampunk, wizard-esque type character with, I love bowler hats. This page was just playing with foliage, just playing around with different leaf shapes. Really bad drawing of an elf-like character, just playing around. A lot of what you do in a sketchbook is mostly imagining, playing around. This is starting stuff. When you want to get into drawing, I was thinking about, doing some of the exercises that I've done for other people or suggested for other people just to get a warm-up. These were compositions that I was thinking about. Okay, if I'm just playing around with landscape compositions. And this was me trying to play with hair again. I still am trying to conquer hair. It's one of those things where if I really need to do it, I will sit down and really study. But it's one of those things that I should just plain study more, and that's why this page was studying hair. And this is my being angry at myself. 30-odd years of drawing all day, almost every day, and you still know nothing. True, very true. It's part of the problem of being an artist. Every day we feel like we know more, and then I find this with judo too. I was a judoka and a karateka. And when you are playing with the martial arts, it's the same way. The more you know, the less you know. And I'm learning that with Japanese, too. I've been studying Japanese for about, 14 years now, seriously. And I still feel like a kindergartner with it. Okay, this one I went back to the basics. Just trying to play with simple, basic head forms. Doing some more of an anime style. I enjoy the big eyes that you do in anime, and I like my males with more of a, the strong jaw look. And I was just playing with doing basic stuff. This was playing with, this is one of my friends, that we were on a teleconference, and I was just drawing people while we were on the teleconference. This is playing with lions, playing with, okay, how would I do lions while I was on the teleconference, and I was doodling. And that's what you do with your sketchbook, too. I don't do a real, how shall I say, I'm going to do this today, or I'm going to study this today. I tend to go to my sketchbook when I need a place to think or just escape. Those are my two biggest reasons for sketchbooks. I was playing with a Robin Hood medieval type character, and I started doing the rough, and this is everything I do in a sketchbook usually is rather sketchy and fast, and I don't focus on anything in particular. And I don't do anything usually really finished. So when I do something finished, it's like I'm playing more importantly. This was I was trying to do the idea of in the turn of the century, when Japanese prints were introduced to Europe, Art Nouveau was basically a culmination of people starting to use plant forms and forms in nature and using them in a design sense. And they saw what the Japanese did with their block prints, and you had that explosion of East meets West. And I was just trying to take, okay, I'm going to take the leaf of a purple sage, and let's just try to come up with some design ideas. And I started with squares and started filling in the page. And I haven't finished this yet. I'm planning on maybe coming back to this at some time. It's like I'm going, okay, I've kind of still roughed some things out here, but I did this more finished. That interlocking, how do you do the interlocking? How do you do the knot work? You have to think more when you do that sort of design work. And a lot of times in my notebooks, I like to let my brain go instead of doing something more mathematical like this. But I may come back to this just because I started it and I kind of like what I've done with, here are the natural forms and what can I do with them. And I may come back to this. With a lot of my sketchbooks, like I said, they start at one point and they go to another. This was playing with another artist's style, and I enjoyed the way that they had done hair and the way they'd done horns and things. And I was playing around with that. And it after looking at somebody for a while, their style sometimes seeps into your brain, and you can come out with something that has a bit of the affinity of that style coming into your style and seeing, what would I do? How could I incorporate it? What does it look like? This one, I love this. I had a model in Art Center who basically, she was very big and voluptuous, and she was mounds of flesh. And I thought, how amazing the forms and the shapes. And I decided to take a caricature of the female form with all those round shapes and throw her into poses. And this was me just playing. And this is in 2022. And I'm going, let's take this form, and what would I do if I wanted to throw her into all kinds of different poses? How would her body flow in those poses? And I was really pleased with this. I think it turned out well, just the flowing motion of the dance and how, to pose her with that flesh. And it was fun, and it turned out beautiful. And I really like the way that turned out. This is me doing heads again. It's like, okay, today I'm doing heads, doing groups of people, doing different emotions, I was playing primarily with male heads. And then I think there was somebody on the internet, and here's a round face, and how can I evolve her face, walking. And a lot of times what happens is that I get back to drawing in my sketchbook, and I fill up the page with everything. But this is primarily just drawing heads, drawing different kinds of heads, playing with hair again. Always playing with hair. I love this. This is was from one of the books I have. I have lots of figure drawing books. I've acquired them over the years because when I was 19, I had one book that I could purchase that was $20, that at that time was the equivalent of $50 today. And you couldn't get naked people in figure drawing books. They just didn't have them. Primarily because that was X-rated. It was an art book, but it was an X-rated. These particular are from a book called Hyperangle, which is a Japanese book. I went to Kinokuniya, and it's one of my favorite books, and I like to pull it out occasionally. It's like you will find these scattered through all my sketchbooks, just because I love these. The art. Sakura Bariko is actually the poser, or it's her books and her photography. She had the model stand on a piece of glass. You can tell he's like on a giant piece of plexiglass. And these are photographed up from that. And she also has down poses. And I really like the human forms when it's done at different angles. This is basically hands. I was playing with hands again. Face. Always drawing different faces, always trying to do things. This was, there's a great site that I like to go to called Quick Pose. And you can do 2-minute poses, or you can stop it so you can get any pose. And it'll give you a random pose. And some of them are clothed, some of them are unclothed. And sometimes, it's like I did this with blue pencil. These are really quick with a thick pen, but never enough posing. This I want to bring up. I'm going to put her website below. This is from Dorkastock. She's not sponsoring me or anything. I just love her. Her name is Sarah Ruth Ford, and she does. This is her high and low deck perspective pack, and it's fun to just, okay, I'm going to do this pose today, or I'm going to do this pose today. And what she did that was really cool, I think she had this outfit made for her because she's got her Dorkastock logo on it, a Dork Stock. It's like, you can see it right there. I'll put it down below too, but it's a Dork Stock. But I think she had the outfit she made so that you can basically, there are lines around it, around her breast, her various muscles, so that you can get that feel of volume. And so when you're drawing, you draw more around the volume, which is really wonderful for anyone, including me. I've been doing life drawing forever, but it's nice to have, she gives you landmarks to where to do the posing. And it's like, what I did was, this is one pose that she had in there. And what I did was, this is the pose, drew the pose, and then I took the pose and added to it. So here's like, this is the pose, doing something fluid with it, playing with the hands, getting my hands right, playing with, like I said, adding something to the pose, adding the hair, adding the flowing gown. For the heck of it, taking one pose and taking it beyond, and that's what I was doing on those pages. This is quick pose again. And again, a lot of these will be, this one, didn't like the way I did the pose. Played with it some more. Learn, forget, and learn again. Wash, rinse, repeat is what I wrote here. It's like, you think you know everything, you don't know anything. You keep on, it's like this pose here. I did the pose, did the pose, did the pose, did the pose. Still not happy with, it's like, okay, how the feet and how to draw the feet and what I was working on the feet, and it was there and it wasn't there. And just playing with, okay, do it again, see what your brain can take in and hold from when you pose. This is using Prismacolor with the quick poses again. And I might have done, it's like the purple one the same day, just that one in a different day, that one in another day, and just pulling in, and this is again in 22. This is quick pose again. I just love this. This one came out well. I mean, a lot of times when you're just doing fast gestural stuff, it'll come out. And when you're trying too hard, it's in ballpoint pens, sometimes it'll be the best tool in the world sometimes, and it'll be the worst tool in the world sometimes. And it'll give you what you want and give the pose, and sometimes it won't. And then up here, I was trying to work on pattern, trying to do eyes. I always love to just go in and play with eyes occasionally. This is Dorkastock again. And again, Dorkastock poses. All of these are in this deck. There's some of these are somewhere. I love the way she pulls back her hair. So the thing is that she's pulling back her hair from her face, so you can use her expressions. You can do her face. And she was doing like the screaming pose, and it's like, great for expression, great for working on your facial poses. This is probably another Zoom meeting, one of my friends. And, drawing on the internet. I'll do that occasionally. Playing with character again. And it's like, you can tell I probably did these in one day, this on another day. Playing with the poses, liking a pose, not liking a pose. Dorkastock stuff again. Oh, this was me just playing with cartoon characters. Okay, what if I took, I don't get to do enough characterization. I've been doing storyboarding for 33 years. I always get to play with other people's characters. I rarely get to invent my own. And so it's like on this particular day, I just decided, okay, let's do some ideas of what I would do with characters. And this was, okay, what if I were going to do a toothbrush gang, something for dentists or something. And this was playing with, okay, let's play with various vegetables. So, root for the hell of it. I mean, it's like, oh my Lord, I could do a whole series around this guy. And it was just, it came up with something like, little interesting. Let's do something with him. This one was playing with, if you ever see snapdragons, they don't come in one. They come in like a group that are tall, and this was like playing with a three-headed snapdragon. Potato. Let's play with vegetables. If you're going to play with in the dirt, you got to have the worms. So it's like added a worm over there. Mushrooms. How can we do, a series with mushrooms? Just thinking up ideas for the heck of it. Playing with eyes. This was just never enough. I always do the same, similar type of eyes, and I was going, okay, what different kinds of ways could I do that? Coming up with a character with that. This was listening to a very boring meeting concerning electing people to become members of the union executive board. And I was writing down notes about who was getting into the executive board. And while I was doing that, I was also, playing with a kid character. Again, Dorcastock. Just playing with Dorcastock. I've been acting the bravado for so long, I didn't realize how frightened I really was. I act the bravado. I find that personally, if I want to be able to get myself out there and be somebody and try to do something, the way I've killed my own shyness is by acting like I'm not shy. I'm an actor. I'm an actor on the page, and expressing myself on the page is how I get my personality and my acting out. And I just put that down there too because I realize in my lifetime how scared I have been. And these are just some goblins, me playing with goblins. Whenever you don't know what to do, draw a goblin. You can come up with anything you want. It's a human that has elf-like qualities, and they're warriors, and they're idiots. What better character to play with when you don't know what to do with goblins? This, again, is quick pose. I couldn't quite get this pose. She was trying to do kind of like a fairy pose, and she had a stretch in her that in this pose, I just wasn't getting. So I tried, can I get that stretch better? And this again, when you're an artist, giving up isn't an option. You may stop and start 100 times, but the need to create always drives you onward. Truth. Very true. You can take the art. I will never stop drawing or painting. It's like no matter if this arthritis takes me or what have you, I will always continue. I'm still hoping if there's an Animaniacs movie, I get on it. I will not stop drawing these guys. I do a drawing every Tuesday on my Patreon if you want a copy of it. But every Tuesday I throw up a drawing of one of the gang on my Patreon just to keep my hand in the game, to keep drawing these guys. And I really need to start doing a sketchbook of nothing but Animaniacs just because they're good to draw. Genevieve Sy, oh my lord. She really did a great job of redesigning them. They have such a flow to them nowadays. Okay, this was me doing a quick talk on camera moves, and it's like I always mix up with how to do camera moves when I'm talking to somebody else in a lecture, and they're basically, when you're doing storyboard, I always say it's kind of like when you're doing music, there are only 12 notes in basically the Western sense of music. And in animation, there are basically 6 shots. Low, medium, high, close, medium, far. That's it. That's all there is. And then there's panning, basically moving the camera. So you're moving the camera with the action. And there's cutting, and that's it. That's all there is. And I like to have a class. I'll do this again, but storyboarding, not difficult at all. But it's like music. You're either Beethoven or you're doing chopsticks, but you still have the same 12 notes. And it's the same thing I say about storyboarding or directing, film direction. You only got one camera. You got a square to put your information on. And I need to start doing some stuff on composition because it's simple and it's extremely hard. And the people who do it well, they do it very well. But it's just like I said, it's like playing a piano. You've only got 12 notes, or you've got 12 notes in two hands. But if you, playing the flute, you only have 12 notes. And you have several octaves, but you still only have 12 notes. Okay. But anyways, Dorcas Stock stuff again. This is Dorcas Stock. No, drawing figures. Always drawing figures. This was, again, this is that site called Quick Pose. And you get some fun stuff. You get some fun costuming stuff. And again, I love ballpoint pen. This was me being ticked. And one of the best drawings I did when I was mad. I really love the flow in this. Sometimes you don't know what you're going to do when you throw open your sketchbook. And I wanted to draw a very pissed monster. And I drew a very, very pissed monster. And I'm going to stop there today, because we still have this much to go. But you can see, you get a basic gist of what I do with my sketchbook. Again, I'm working on a real complicated painting, or I'm working on a real complicated storyboards. I've got, with storyboards, I usually do anywhere from 30 to 100 drawings in a day, depending on what the project is, depending on what the deadline is. And when you're doing that much, especially drawing on computer, you need a break. You need to get away from one medium and go to another. And life drawing, man, you're on the computer, pull up, Quick Pose. QuickPose.com, I believe, is what their site is. Or Dorcas Stock, she's got all kinds of photos. Just Google or Pinterest if you want to find a good pose of somebody, or a good pose of groups, or what have you, to just get away from what you're doing. And if you're learning how to draw, do at least 10 poses a day. If you've got Quick Pose, it does 2-minute poses. If you do 10 2-minute poses, that's only 20 minutes. They may be crud drawings, but you spent 20 minutes doing something fun and interesting. But anyways, that's the second part of my current sketchbook. Thank you for stopping by. My name is Llyn Hunter again, LLYNHUNTER. I have a Patreon with my name on it that way. And you can go over and check out. I've got a ton of stuff there if you want to see what I've done. I also have an Instagram. Check me out. Stop on by. Come again next week. I'll have another video for you. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.